The Elderly Wolf Uncle Chapter 127. Chen Tian saw that the other party had been speechless because of the shock, but he also felt normal. Because in this world, no matter who it is, the strength of the motherland has become an unshakable stereotype. The other party will be deflated under their own hands, whether it is Queen Maeve, or other people in this world, they can't think of it at all. It reminds me of the old saying, there are people outside the people, and there is a sky outside the sky. Chen Tian thought in his heart with emotion, at the same time, this sentence also applies to myself. This is rumble. Across the street, the building that collapsed in the middle of the ruins of the building on the ground suddenly exploded a large pit, and all the stones covering it were blown into powder, turning into dust and smoke. The eyes of the motherland slowly floated from the big pit. At this moment, his usually elegant cheeks are already stained with dust, and his meticulous hairstyle has become scattered. The uniform on his body was also stained with filth. The whole person looks far from the strongest superhero who is just on the top and controls everything on his own days, and he is quite embarrassed. Damn it. The motherland's chest rose and fell violently, as if he had suffered losses under Chen Tian's hands and was stimulated and broken. Oh my, is this a motherland? How did he become so embarrassed? What experiments are you doing? After all, the motherland is an invincible existence. Quote. When the passers-by around saw this scene, they were all shocked, and they exclaimed in disbelief one after another, and at the same time pointed their mobile phones at the motherlanders in unison. They were obviously a little confused for a while after seeing this scene. I can't figure out at all why the powerful motherland became like this. And the exclamations in their mouths were naturally heard by the people of the motherland with extraordinary five senses. The people of the motherland immediately looked around at the crowd around them, and suddenly became more and more annoyed, and their teeth were about to be crushed. But they immediately squeezed out a smile. He then pointed at Chen Tian, this guy is a super criminal. But don't worry, I'll subdue him soon. When the onlookers heard his speech, they immediately raised their hands and cheered him up loudly, Motherlanders. Motherlanders, quote. And fanatical fans are hoarse. Motherland, you are invincible. We believe in you. However, Chen Tian, who was standing opposite each other across the street, had a disdainful smile on his face. You better take care of yourself first. His volume was not loud, but it clearly fell to the people of the motherland. When the latter heard this, the smile that had just been squeezed out of his face immediately became a little strained. Maeve, what are you waiting for? The criminal is standing by your side, don't you hurry up and catch him. With anger, he roared loudly towards Queen Maeve beside Chen Tian. Queen Maeve heard the words of the motherland, and then looked at the masses that had gathered around, and also understood that for the sake of the company and her own reputation, she had to do something to Chen Tian no matter what. As for how to deal with it after being caught, let's see when the time comes. Thinking, Queen Maeve's gaze froze, and she immediately raised her hand and prepared to grab it at her side. Where to think? She was just about to start, but found that the people around her had quietly disappeared. Where did you go? Rao's Queen Maeve has been prepared for Chen Tian's extremely fast speed. She can't catch it at all, but the other party's fast movement speed is still beyond her expectations. Zero. Hey. Then, Queen Maeve heard a disdainful snort coming from above herself. She looked up and found that Chen Tian had actually floated above her head. Can you still fly? Queen Maeve saw this scene and was shocked. You know, in the world of black-robed pickets, flying is an extremely cherished skill. The Super Sixes created by Walt are only the motherland people themselves who can fly. She couldn't have predicted that this handsome teenager would have this skill. This. Queen Maeve raised her head and looked at Chen Tian blankly, as if she realized something. This is simply a replica version of the motherland. The people of the motherland on the opposite side also realized this after seeing Chen Tian, who was flying. The other party's ability seems to be similar to his own. Impossible, I'm the only one. A burst of anger suddenly surged under his eyes, and his entire face became extremely hideous at this time. The motherland is an extremely narcissistic person, so it is naturally impossible for him to tolerate others being like himself. The anger that was already churning in his heart was even more like being poured with oil at this time, almost devouring his whole person. The motherland let out an extremely low roar in his throat, and his feet suddenly exerted force, and he stepped on the ground fiercely. Rumble. The surrounding ground of more than 10 meters was directly stepped on by him and collapsed into a deep pit, and the spiderweb-like cracks spread out in an instant. However, his whole person directly turned into a cannonball-like afterimage, rushing towards Chen Tian on the opposite side. Phew. The air within a radius of 100 meters was violently pulled by his figure because he suddenly burst out his full speed. The endless turbulent wind and torrent dispersed in all directions in an instant like the raging waves of the angry sea. Most of the leaves on all the surrounding plants were blown off alive, and all pedestrians were blown back a few steps alive. Even on the ground, the slightly smaller stones were blown by the fierce wind formed by his forward rush. Ah! The people of the motherland rushed forward, their eyes staring at the indifferent young man in front of him, flying in midair. All his expressions were at this time fierce to the extreme. In his throat, a low roar sounded. At this time, the whole body seems to have transformed into an unstoppable cannonball, carrying a terrifying destructive power that wants to destroy everything. Indomitable, it is necessary to directly blast the person in front of him who has embarrassed so many people into smashes. Phew. Under the agitated mood, the people of the motherland actually broke through their original limit speed in an instant. The speed, which was already extremely terrifying, actually accelerated again. The air around it was knocked out of a ring air ripple because of his sudden speed change. You're dead. The people of the motherland did not expect that they could make such a breakthrough under such circumstances. Deep down, my confidence skyrocketed. However, phew. Chen Tian, who was already close at hand, suddenly flashed his figure, turned into a blur, and moved 1 meter to the side. It was so dangerous, but it seemed to have easily avoided the people of the motherland, and this time it was full of self-confidence. Cool. After the people of the motherland rushed over, they immediately turned around and stopped their momentum alive in midair. The surrounding air was stirred up by whistling ripples because of his forced stop. This guy's ability is really similar to me, and it seems that his ability is even stronger than mine. The people of the motherland looked at Chen Tian, and the anger in their hearts was already churning. The demonstration of the latter's ability made him feel a powerful threat. Kill you. The killing intent of the people of the motherland has never been expanded. There is a warning in the heart, then you must destroy this guy, otherwise your position in this world will be greatly threatened. After all, when two people with the same ability appear, then the public will definitely support the stronger side. Thoughtless. The eyes of the motherland people were already shining with a terrifying red light like fire. Along with all the skin around the corners of the eyes, there was a vanishing lava-like sheen. He directly released his heat vision to the maximum power. Rumble. 2 streaks of energy, like 2 fierce and crazy dragon-like red beams, instantly carried endless high temperatures, piercing the air and shooting towards Chen Tian 0. First chapter.